Today, I'll be going over my financial plan, my goals, and how I believe the bare minimum of what people should be doing. Well, things to help them. It's going to be long and drawn out. You can go over the presentation yourself and read it, but I'm going to go through it, and then at the end, I'm going to explain it. I'll stop at parts where I think I need to add more, but I just didn't want to flood this presentation. But here we go. Financial Plan 2026. Table of Content, Introduction, Financial Overview, Sacrifice and Consistency, 5 Future Keys, Investments, Future Roadmap, Financial Projections, and Monthly Template. A financial plan is essential for effectively managing and shaping your future. While earning more money is a worthwhile goal, without a clear and strategic plan, you risk losing direction and wasting valuable time and resources. Reaching your financial goals takes more than just ambition. It requires sacrifice, consistency, and a disciplined approach over time. Pretty straightforward. Financial overview. Be clear on your financial outflows. Assess the potential for upward momentum and explore opportunities to add additional streams of income. So this is just your day-to-day, what you get monthly through your primary job, figuring out what your cap is for that primary job and what you need to do to advance in your primary job if that's what you want. Exploring other opportunities. This could be side jobs or your passion. Like having a passion and going towards that, even though you don't see a lot of opportunity at that time, it's something that you should be doing. Failure is something that happens throughout your life. And additional streams of income, like I already talked about. Next, understanding where your money is going, how your investments are structured, and whether you're financially well-rounded with your bases covered. It's crucial for a long-term stability and growth. This is looking at your investments, understanding what is risky, what is your big potential, what is steady income with your stage of life. Earlier, you can invest into more. Risky things, but once you get a little older, just making sure that you have that stability, being well-rounded. That could mean what I think it is your retirement, your investments, and then your ownership. And the ownership could be a business, it could be your house. Just understanding what that long-term growth looks like for all factors. With your income, outflows, and investments structured, what does your overall financial plan look like? What adjustments are needed to help you be successful and achieve it? So with this, it is just knowing what everything is going to be. Your primary job, what is that going to look like? The side gig, what is that going to turn into with your investments? And making those adjustments. So do I need to come to work earlier? Do I need to study more for my next promotion? What is my retirement going to look like? Do I need to put more into that? That's what I'm talking about there. All right, next. The big 2 keys I have are sacrifice and consistency. With those, you need it. Everyone should sacrifice. Doesn't matter what you have. But sorry, I'm getting off goal. Sacrifice. Reaching your goals will require sacrifice. The amount will depend on where you are in life. At times, you may need to explain your choices to others who might not understand your vision. So this could be with your relationship, the relationship that you have with your family, with your loved ones. They may think that you're working overtime, that you're doing things that don't matter. But if you show them an actual plan of how you're going to make this maybe little thing become a big thing, just being able to articulate that. I talk about that a lot. Articulation is key for especially relationships for people that don't understand your mindset, because your mindset is not a common thing that everybody else has. It could be a lot different than other people. And if you show them how you're going to win over time, they'll still patronize you about it, but over time you show growth, and then they will understand, and then you can build upon that. You can always push yourself to achieve more, but without a clear plan and effort, you may lose direction. A well-defined plan ensures you're making meaningful progress, and that growth will help carry you through those challenging times. Like I said before, you show with your sacrifice the time, the energy that it's going towards a goal, And as long as you can show that, then that helps out, especially for relationships and also your own mindset, because you may be putting in a lot of time and effort and energy and it doesn't show, but with time, it will keep making those sacrifices. And then goes to the next thing, consistency. It's a foundation of success. Without it, you'll never reach your full potential. It starts with training your mind to stay disciplined. Once mastered, consistency will carry over to every aspect of your life, driving lasting growth and achievement. With consistency, you'll become more competent, trustworthy, valuable in all things around you. So, with that consistency, as long as you're doing things that you should be doing over a long stretch of time that are good, that have a well thought out plan, you will have that growth. And like I said, once mastered, it will carry on to everything. So if you're just worried about finances, once you start getting your finances in check with consistency, you'll start waking up early. You're like, you know what? I have time. I need to get my head right for what I'm doing. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to make my relationships better because my consistency has given me security through through everything I'm trying to master in life, that I can start bleeding it over to all aspects. 5 future keys: your outflows, sacrifice, investment, future, discipline, and consistency. This is all of it. These things will help you have a fruitful life, and you will achieve whatever freedom you want as long as you have these things in place. Investments. First, yourself. The results you generate for yourself are shaped by the time and money you invest in advancing your skills, knowledge, and goals, along with your commitment to keep moving forward. So you should always be investing in yourself. And everything that you do does help yourself. And once you help yourself, you can help others, right? Assets. What do you own? Whether it's a home, stocks, crypto, bonds, land, or other assets that define your personal wealth and your financial foundation. Assets are huge. Most people don't have any assets in life. Most people just have debt. Debt is their only asset. They have credit card debt. They have whatever it is. Assets are, you must have them, and you must compound them and keep on acquiring them through life. Next, community. The people you surround yourself will shape who you are. Being a part of a group that shares the same goals keeps you motivated, sharp, and focused. So, like everyone says, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang around the most, right? And this goes into your job because you're working more than you're doing anything else, most likely, or you should be, right? So if you are around people that you work with that don't have the same mental capacity or the same kind of strife or sacrifice or consistency, then you need to have other people in your life, people that you can trust, your family and friends. You have to build that and protect it, because the people that are closest to you can do the most damage to you because they know what buttons to press, but they will also try to hold you back because they believe that they're trying to help you. So understanding this is crucial. That's why, especially for men, being around like-minded men that are trying and sacrificing and pushing and have that consistency that you're trying to get is so good, and it will help you out throughout your life. Financial roadmap. Understanding where you start. Your true competition should be yourself. Should be the person that you were a year ago. However, taking a step back to objectively compare yourself to the average person can provide a valuable wake-up call to establish a solid baseline for growth. This is awesome. And it's very scary to do because you don't know where you fall, and that can make you feel a type of way. So wherever you're at, whatever age you're at, whatever education level, skill, whatever, if you look at who that average person that you think that you are, see where they are in life, like how much money you should have, what your relationship looks like, and getting that baseline is crucial, because then even if you're below it or above it, at least you know, and then you'll be like, okay, here's the baseline. So there's the baseline. Okay, here is where I was a year ago. This is where I'm at now, or it could be lower. Just knowing that, trying to be better every year, every 5-10 years is great. If not, then you will never know. And it is a wake-up call for a lot of people. Set a monthly goal and build on it steadily. Begin tracking everything: wasteful spending, monthly savings, retirement, contributions, and investments. Identify your monthly cash flow, the money that you have available to invest freely. So, I'll go over myself at the end, but just tracking what you spend is great because you don't need to change. You might not have to change what you're doing, but at least knowing where it's going. It's like, this is a net negative, this is a net positive. I could take from this, I could put it here. My monthly contribution is this for my retirement. It's going to be this when I'm 60. Here's my investments that I do yearly. That's what this is going to look like in 5, 10 years. I'll go over that later. But just knowing what it is, this is my monthly flow that I have at the end of the month. So what I could be investing. If I am doing it, great. If I'm not, where is that money going? Eventually, people will get a nest egg because people like savings. That's why I don't like savings. This is my own personal thing. I don't like savings because most of the time I've seen that savings goes somewhere else, like a big trip, a big expense, a car, or whatever it is. It gets ate up real fast. That's why I would rather put it into a brokerage for investments in the future. And you can start. I'll go over that later, where you can allocate things. Next, identify areas where you can make sacrifices for your future and stay consistent with your effort. Cut back, cut back on wasted time, unnecessary luxuries, and any financial excess. Strengthen your financial consistency by following your plan diligently. So easy. Time wasted could be put somewhere else. Most likely sleep for most people. Unnecessary luxuries, maybe you don't deserve that right now. You could make the sacrifice, right? That's where the sacrifices come in. I'll sacrifice some luxury now for 10, 20 years to be in a place where I never thought I'd ever be in my life. And strengthening your financial consistency, because once you start saving, once you start investing, it just keeps on going up. You just want more and more and more to reach whatever your freedom is. I'm not saying make all the money in the world and be greedy, but just whatever freedom that you want, you can get if you have that plan. Next, build on your portfolio of assets today. Investing just $100 a month over 10 years can transform into a financial future. As your portfolio grows, this nest egg will open doors and create opportunities you never imagined. So like I was saying before, $100 a month can turn into, in 10 years, you being able to buy that house that you want. You getting that security for your family, to put your kids into college that you never had, and to just set up future traveling or whatever you want that you will have with just a simple, measly $100 that will turn into, trust me, a lot more with that consistency and growth over time. Financial projections, revenue forecasts. While advancing your career, treat it like an investment, always seeking where the next opportunity for growth will arise. Stay aware of your revenue forecast trends and be ready to make your next strategic move. So, like I said, your job is a investment. If you haven't seen any growth or you've seen very little growth, you should always be looking for something else. I'm in a federal job where I'm like stuck and capped in, and my pension is my overall. That's my forecast. That's what I'm working for, right? And most people that have a pension, they don't think of it like that. I think of it like a $2 million dividend that I get in 20 years. And if you think about it like that, that's great. That's what you should be doing. Why am I doing the job that I'm doing? What is the investment that I'm getting into it? Is there somewhere else I can go to make more money? And just being ready to make that. I'm not saying leave the job that you have, but be ready to make that strategic move. Expense projections. This is where single individuals without financial burdens can truly thrive. However, regardless of your circumstances, you must adjust your weekly expenses to build a future you desire. Careful expense projections will help guide your future growth. So, like I've said this whole time, with a single person, it's the most money you'll ever make in your life, right? It is the most money you'll ever have, and that's usually the most wasteful you'll be too. But if you can really understand this, when I was single, I did not understand this, and I didn't get this. But like, for example, single people love to live by themselves. It's the biggest waste of money, unless you own that house. Like, it's the biggest waste of money. But that's that luxury. That's that not willing to sacrifice part, that you're just wasting money for renting from somebody just so you can have your own place because you feel like you deserve it, right? Next, funding requirements. This is the ultimate goal. After creating your monthly plan and staying consistent over time, you'll be able to fund your future, whether that means your first home, starting a new business, or finally retiring on your terms. In other words, you will be funding your freedom. So that's the culmination of your projections, right? So that's with consistency, sacrifice, over time, investing in yourself to get more money, investing into your relationships to have that future. Like I said, doesn't matter if it's your business, your house, your family, or just your freedom. It's the culmination of everything to have what you ultimately want. All right. This is the template that I've created. So this is very simple. You can add to this with expenses and all that, but this is just my personal one because this is like the bare minimum that you need, right? So you can't really see it, can you? All right, I'll move it. So right up here, it says net cash flow. So for me, it's nothing, right? Because that's just how I have it, right? My side hustles, I'm going for $1,200 a month. So 200 into retirement, stocks, bonds, crypto, whatever, 500, and my savings, 250. But because my house in principal pays me $1,400 a month. So with all of this, this is how you understand what you are doing in life, right? So okay, this reflects the income remaining after covering essential needs like bills, food, and other necessities. Based on a simple overview, I save or invest zero directly from my primary paycheck, aside from 200 for contribution to retirement. However, my side gig brings in 1,200 monthly, which I invest 500, save 250. I also gain 1,200 principal each month, a net positive of 1,900 a month. In my view, home ownership's ultimate asset. Note to the side, I'll bring up here. Before investing, you should clear all debt. And that goes without saying, but I have to say that. So, like I was saying, it's good to know monthly what you are doing because most people don't think about their house, their biggest investment they have, which, well, maybe it's not your biggest investment, it's mine. I think about that. It's like I know that I'm paying off this much a month. So I keep that in mind. It's like I'm only making 1,200 and I'm only investing 500, but I have my house that I'm putting money into that I'm getting money back basically. You need to start thinking about that. So this is just the monthly, right? Next, we will go over your future outlook. This future outlook and where most people, this is where most people mess up and they never really take time to understand what they're working towards. Investments, stocks, for example, S&P 500 historically return since inception since 1926 to 1957 about 9.8. It's probably around 10 to 15. But I just put like the lowest I could find. 500 a month for 1 year will get you 6,300. 500 for 5 years will give you 37, and 10 years will give you 9,700. That's, I mean, 97,000. So 5 years is 36,000. 10 years is 97,000, and that's like small. That's small, and it's an average, right? Because year one, maybe you're only putting in 100. Year 10, maybe you're up to 1,000. I just put a broad average of $500 a month because if you stay consistent and keep on making sacrifices, that will go up. So that's very simple to do. $500 a month is what, $125 a week? Very simple. But being consistent with it over time is what's going to elevate you. And this is bare minimum. Like you can do other things. You can invest into higher growth companies when you're younger. You can do a bunch of things, right? So retirement. So $200 a month invested at age 25 will give you $415,000 at 60, which is very, very low. But just remember that. So look at your retirement. Hopefully you have one. Even if it's just $200 a month, you'll have a couple 100,000. And what I think about retirement is what I can give down to my kids. So I can use the rest of it for myself and my future outlook. And I have this little just emergency fund, basically. All right. I put in more. I will go over that later. Home ownership. The median house price is $390,000 for a single family home. Since 1991, the Federal Housing Finance Agency reports that the average annual house appreciation is 4.3, which means that every year the house on average goes up 4.3%. So whatever house you buy at that price, it'll go up 4.3%, right? From 2000 to now, the average increase has been slightly higher at 4.7 a year. Annual appreciation for 1 year at uh, at 390,000 would give you 408,000. 5 years 489,000, and 10 years 615,000, which is pretty cool. And this is just basically, instead of paying rent, you buy a house. Big investment, right? But big returns, right? So the principal is whatever loan you take out, that 390,000, you're paying back to yourself. So just remember that. So after 1 year, it's 6,200. 5 years, 35,000. 10 years, 800 or 85,000. So you add those together. So did I do that here? Yeah. So total gain. So 1 year would be $24,000 on average. That's why like the 5 year is more realistic than the 1 year, because like for me, when I bought my house, the first 2 years it went down 10%. So 5 years, 135,000. 10 years, 225,000, and this is just rent. So this is, instead of that rent going to somebody else, this is what it could turn into, right? And I think that is it. Okay, cool. So that's taking everything together, and that's what you should be doing. So that's looking at your monthly, what you can do monthly, and thinking about what sacrifices and that you can make, adjustments that you can make, because some of us don't even need to have a side gig. You just need to look at your wasteful spending, and as a single person, you can bring it down to bare minimum, be a super minimalist, and invest tons before you will eventually get a girlfriend, a wife, and kids. That's where that baggage comes in. Like myself, I wasn't able to do that. So I got married, 2014, something like that. And the only thing I had since, like, before that was just my retirement. Everything else, I spent every penny. I was just like, I was looking for, I wasn't really, that doesn't matter. So, so when I first got married, I just had my retirement. And then I was like, okay, I need to get my stuff together. So I just saved money. I didn't know anything else. I didn't know about investments or anything. I just saved a bunch of money. 3 years later, I had around $15,000. Some other people around me that I saw that their lives were doing better. I was like, what do I need to do? They're like, easiest thing for you to do is stop paying rent, buy a house. I'm like, cool. So I was like, I'm going to buy a house. And everyone thought I was crazy. I paid way more money than that I was allocating towards rent. And everyone just like, you can't do this. I'm like, yes, I can. I did that. And that has been the best investment that I have made. So year to date, I've paid down on my principal. So this is just me paying my loan off, paying my loan off. This isn't appreciation or anything. I paid $100,000 in 8 years. That's great. So instead of paying rent and wasting all that, I have basically paid myself $100,000. With the appreciation, another $250,000. So overall, $350,000. I take $50,000 off for when I eventually sell it, if I do sell it, but I most likely rent it out, and that's $300,000. So instead of me being a coward and just renting, or just being like, okay, I'm gonna listen to everybody else, they say I can't do it, I've made $300,000 just off of living in a house, which is awesome. Yeah. So investments, yeah. So, and I've consistently invested since the scamdemic. Since then, they started giving out free checks, and I started looking into stuff. I was like, this can't be sustained. So I was like, yeah, I did it out of fear mostly. So, and I've messed up a ton with investing, but you're going to do that. I was like, you know what? I'm young. I can make mistakes. I'm just going to do whatever I want to do. But I have consistently invested for 5 years. And what I truly believe is, go ahead and invest into whatever you want. But a lot of people, they invest and they lose money, or they don't see gains, so they get discouraged and they never do it again. And they just do that savings thing, right? Where they just get their savings and then they eventually blow it on something, right? But the retirement piece is pretty huge too. So I've been putting in retirement for 15 years, and just in 2024, last year, my retirement went up $9,000 in just 1 year of just putting $200 in a month. And that's gonna vary as it goes. But for me, I have mine scheduled out for the forecast to look at when I'm 60. It's going to be just over $1 million. So I did that because I was putting in more, and with me, it's three building blocks. So I just want $1 million at 60 because I have my house, I have my investments, and that's money that I can use now whenever I want. The retirement is just at 60. So, like I said before, my retirement is just for my future, for my kids, and for that option at 60 to be like, I can take it, pay off everything, and then I will, that if that's my freedom as I see at that time, that's how I'm using it. So you can go ahead and max out your retirement. I know a lot of people that do. Cool, that's great. Just know that you can't use it until 60, and you could be using that money instead to buy a house, and that's what I'm choosing to do and invest. So I can use that now, basically, or when I'm 40 and I retire or whatever. So retirement, investments, and ownership. That can be home ownership, that can be business, whatever. I think that's the way you should split it up, and I try to keep them pretty average for expectations. Um, but in closing, just if you are a person that is in debt or doesn't understand that, when I went over this slide right here, very simple. Just those three that I was talking about. Basically, your rent is the biggest expenditure that you have. So your rent, your investing, and your retirement. If you just work on those, first pay off all the debt that you have, and slowly start putting in to your retirement, your investments, and a nest egg for a house, or just realizing what that rent's going to be and how to maximize that. That's where you start. But take a look at this. You can just look at the presentation or go over my thoughts on it and come up with your own plan. That's all. That's all that I ask for. Just know what you're doing with the money that you are making, and know where it's going, and scale it and mold it to whatever you want for your future to look like, because you don't want to be 40, 50 and be like, damn, I wasted my time. And that goes into a bunch of other things. That can go to your mental health, your physical health, and your relationships. Huge for guys, because a lot of guys get divorced around 40 and 50 after they retire. They don't know what they're doing. They have no plan, and now they're like, what do I do next? So take a look, figure out your plan in life, and take control of your life.